Iranian waters.
The reports indicate the U.S. Navy and Air Force are rushing assets to the area. The U.S. Abraham Lincoln Carrier Strike Group is reportedly on the move, backing serious firepower. There are also unconfirmed claims that the George H.W. Bush Carrier Strike Group is also headed to the region, which would add similar additional capabilities. It's not just ships. Flight trackers have spotted over a dozen cargo jets and fighters surging towards the Middle East. Even U.S. allies like the UK and France appear to be moving aircraft into theater. This buildup comes as the White House weighs options on how to deal with Iran following its crackdowns on protesters. However, the situation is incredibly dangerous. Iran still retains a massive arsenal of ballistic missiles, estimated at 2,000 missiles, as well as drones ready to fire back at American bases and allies like Israel. While carrier groups back a punch, the U.S. may not yet have the full ground and air defense infrastructure needed to sustain possible Iranian retaliation. With carriers and guided missile destroyers getting into position, is this just a show of force or preparation for a strike? For more military analysis, follow Binkov's Battlegrounds YouTube channel.
This is the USS Abraham Lincoln supercarrier near Iranian waters, and this is the same carrier seen from Tehran. Blood runs in the water to form a US flag. The message, if you sow the wind, you will reap the whirlwind. US President Donald Trump is building up a military force in the Middle East, saying the US is ready to strike Iran with speed and violence if Tehran doesn't agree to a nuclear deal.
I hope they make a deal. I hope they make a deal.
This comes after nationwide protest and the death of thousands of people in Iran's worst unrest in decades. Iran says it will respond powerfully to any attack and that it does not negotiate under threat. So what has the US moved to the region so far, and what could happen next? The aircraft carrier is just one of the ships that's been sent. It comes with jet fighters, electronic warfare planes, and Navy destroyers capable of firing cruise missiles. So if the US attacks, how could Iran retaliate? Experts say the scale and target of any Iranian response would depend on what is hit. When the US attacked Iranian nuclear sites in June 2025, Iran responded by launching missiles at a base housing US troops in Qatar. But it sent a warning before it did so. A US attack now, for instance on Revolutionary Guard sites, could be met with another carefully calibrated retaliation. Iran could also focus on maritime disruption, since it controls the Strait of Hormuz. A fifth of global oil consumption passes through it. But should the US target Iran's leadership or pursue a wider attack, that could unify hardliners and drive a sharper response. That would involve Iran's allies in the region. So what has been the response to US threat? While they did not join Iran in the 12-day war against Israel last June, some have now started to openly threaten to join Tehran in any retaliation next time. The Houthis released this video suggesting they are ready to resume attacks on shipping in the Red Sea. Iraq's Kataib Hezbollah warned that a war on Iran would not be a walk in the park and called on its fighters to prepare for total war. And Hezbollah in Lebanon vowed to confront a threat with all necessary measures, but stopped short of committing to military intervention. Iran says it's ready for war, if the US begins one, but it is also sending signals that it is ready to negotiate. And Trump has said he wants a deal. Still, last time Tehran and Washington were negotiating on Iran's nuclear program, Israel bombed Iran, and then so did the US.
The U.S. military.
We have a big force going toward Iran.
Military activity around Iran is accelerating, with clear signs of a major US and allied buildup across the Middle East. At a US base in Jordan, at least 36 F-15E Strike Eagle fighter jets have been deployed. Each jet can carry heavy weapons, strike targets inside Iran, and return without refueling. These aircraft have played a leading role in intercepting Iranian drones and cruise missiles, including during previous attacks on Israel. More significantly, C-17 military transport planes have been arriving with weapons, equipment and ground crews, a sign the base is being prepared for sustained combat operations. Flight tracking data also shows dozens of US cargo aircraft moving into the region, along with additional fighter jets redeployed from RAF Lakenheath in the UK. At sea, the USS Abraham Lincoln Carrier Strike Group has moved from the Pacific into the Middle East and is now operating in the Arabian Sea with its tracking turned off. Air defences are being reinforced too. Patriot and THAAD missile systems have reportedly been deployed at Al Udeid Air Base in Qatar, echoing last year's build-up ahead of an Iranian missile response. At the same time, US forces have reduced their footprint at more exposed bases in Iraq and the Gulf. Iran's Revolutionary Guard says its forces are on high alert and warns the US and Israel against miscalculation.
Is Donald Trump about to attack Iran? It looked like the US was just minutes away from war, and West Asia was on edge. Look at the military deployment in the region. Over the last 24 hours, more than 12 F-15 fighter jets have arrived in Jordan. Then there is the USS Abraham Lincoln. It was deployed in the South China Sea, but now this American warship, along with its strike team, is moving towards West Asia. Then there is the island of Diego Garcia. The US has a base there, and it has moved its C-17 planes to this base. So what does this latest deployment mean? In Pentagon language, it's called keeping all options on the table. Trump has paused the threat of force. He has not abandoned it yet. So West Asia is sitting in a tense, uneasy calm. No bombs have fallen, but the fuse has not been cut either. Is Donald Trump about to attack Iran? It looked like the US was just minutes away from war, and West Asia was on edge. Look at the military deployment in the region. Over the last 24 hours, more than 12 F-15 fighter jets have arrived in Jordan. Then there is the USS Abraham Lincoln. It was deployed in the South China Sea, but now this American warship, along with its strike team, is moving towards West Asia. Then there is the island of Diego Garcia. The US has a base there, and it has moved its C-17 planes to this base. So what does this latest deployment mean? In Pentagon language, it's called keeping all options on the table. Trump has paused the threat of force. He has not abandoned it yet. So West Asia is sitting in a tense, uneasy calm. No bombs have fallen, but the fuse has not been cut either. Is Donald Trump about to attack Iran? It looked like the US was just minutes away from war, and West Asia was on edge. Look at the military deployment in the region. Over the last 24 hours, more than 12 F-15 fighter jets have arrived in Jordan. Then there
isn't drilled.
U.S. officials confirm a major military buildup toward the Middle East. Washington may deploy air defense systems, fighter jets, and naval forces, preparing offensive military options against Iran if authorized by President Trump. Officials say the scale matches past preparations before strikes on Iranian nuclear facilities, signaling serious escalation rather than routine deterrence. U.S. officials confirm a major military buildup toward the Middle East. Washington may deploy air defense systems.
We're watching Iran.
We're
watching Iran. We're watching Iran. You know, we have a lot of ships going that direction, just in case. We have a big flotilla going in that direction. We have an armada. We have a massive fleet heading in that direction, and maybe we won't have to use it. We'll see. We're watching Iran.
In this video, you can clearly see a sharp spike in U.S. military. Right now, the USS Bataan is on its way to the Persian Gulf. Thousands of
last few days, and are you planning on it?
I have had, and I am planning on it. Yeah, we have a lot of very big, very powerful ships sailing to Iran right now, and it would be great if we didn't have to use them.
Can you say what the message was that you shared with Iranians?
Well, I told them. Things. Number one, no nuclear, and number two, stop killing protesters. They're killing them by the thousands. You know, I stopped 837 hangings 2 weeks ago, but they're gonna have to do something. Nobody's seen that.
This is the book of Zephaniah 3, verse 8. It read, "Therefore wait ye upon me, says the Lord, until the day that I rise up to the prey. For my determination is to gather the nations, that I may assemble the kingdoms, to pour upon them my indignation, even all my fierce anger. For all the earth shall be devoured with the fire of my jealousy. All praise and glory to Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shai Bahashem, Raha Kadash, and the Bwana Zelda, and the apostles of the Timison who do well. A peace, blessing, and salutation to you, Akiamua, pushing this truth, the horns of heaven, a bear at the forefront of the spiritual war, and to make sure Jerusalem is established as a praise here once again, as in the days of old. So, as you can see, a lot of news outlet out of there talking about the build-up of this military hardware over there in the Levant, in which that's prophecy. Remember, I hear the one brother speak about Saudi Arabia threatening that they may align with Iran if America continue to pursue their interest, which jeopardize the whole entire region, and which is such prophecy, man. If you go to the book of Second Ezra, as we always bring it up, that eventually the Kamanian will team up with the dragon of Arabia, saying which that way the Arabia goes into the multitude of nations, but mainly it was talking about Ishmael. Second Ezra 15:29, where the nation of Arabia or Arab shall come out with many chariots. That way the Arabians come from a Hebrew word, you see, and the multitude of them shall be carried as the wind upon the earth, that all they which hear them may fear and tremble. That was the Kamanian legend. Last shall go forth as they will above the wood. So the Kamanian will engage up with the dragon of Arabia going against the small heart and America was that region there. And with great power shall they come. You see? So right now we ain't seen nothing yet, man. You see? We ain't seen nothing. When the time come, you will see. You see? You're going to join the battle with them and they shall waste a portion of the land of the Assyria. They will have long range missiles and ballistic missiles. I think Iran right now have ballistic missiles. They are long range, which they can hit anywhere in America. Last time I heard, I might not be correct, but there is rumors for that. See? So all of this you are here, you are seeing, we've been speaking on this, man. And it is coming to pass. Let me see. This is Joel 9. Proclaim this among the Gentiles. Prepare a war, wake up the mighty men. Let all men who fall draw near. Let them come up. I think even the British, they have like military hardware like over there. See, they already have. All NATO and EU, they have military hardware over there in that region. And it will only increase. You see? Beat your approach into sword and your pruning hook into spear. Let the weak say I'm strong. I think the British, they have military hardware. If not Qatar, it could be Qatar. You see? And they were evacuating the military hardware. I think they have like aircraft. They have aircraft, I think. See, they have aircraft in some other military hardware. You see? Beat your approaching to sword and your pruning hook into spear, let the weak say I'm strong. Assemble yourself in a calm or in hidden and gather yourself together round about hither, cause thy might one to come down or a hour. Let the heathen be awakened, and that's what is going on. How are they being awakened? Through conflict of interest, fight over resources. Who gonna control what? And come up with the value for your Shapat for there we I see to judge the heathen on about. See? Verse 14, multitude in the valley of decision. That's what you are seeing in the news. The day of the Lord is near in the valley of decision. So this, I would say, Shalom, and hope you're edified on the next.